Honduras' run in this tournament ends without having found the back of the net. Frustration continues. Will Jorge Luis Pinto be out after this tournament, or will he remain at the helm for a little while longer? That remains to be seen, but I think for most of Honduras, you could really tell, particularly and especially in the second half, where they looked like they were gradually running out of ideas. Pinto made a lot of substitutions to try to create more fluidity and creativity in the midfield for Honduras on the counter, but nothing was registering. And for large stretches of this game, Honduras looked like they could not break through. Mexico played very astutely. I thought that their ball game keeping possession was very intelligent. It was time wasting, but without time wasting, meaning no going to the ground easily, diving, or embellishment, but they played a very fluid passing game that I thought that disrupted Honduras' state of play. They kept the ball, and yes, they didn't create very many chances in the last 45 minutes, but they stifled Honduras every step of the way. And I thought Honduras, I was watching it, and I really didn't understand, because whenever they would break on the counter, it seemed like Kyoto and Elise really did not have enough support up front. They kept registering one or two men in the box, and they would be surrounded by 4 or 5 Mexican defenders. And, I thought that for the most of the duration of the second half, Honduras didn't really do enough to push numbers forward. They did in a few moments in this match where Mexico looked to punish them on the counter, but for the most part, I thought Honduras was really just relying too much on the breakaway and on linking up one or two players up front in the box. I really don't think their system of support, I thought it was lacking. And I thought even despite Pinto's substitutions, they were lacking that finishing edge. And that's why conceding the early goal, that was enough for them to lose this game. It sucks to have a game where there's only one goal in it and it comes within the first few minutes of the match, because that just sets the tone for the remainder of the game. And Honduras starts the game off slowly. If you start off slowly, you concede. That has to change your entire strategy for the game. If you concede early, most teams I see, they don't come back from that. Because it just changes the whole psychological element of the game too. So, Pizarro, with that tap-in, very poor defending from the Hondurans. I mean, I forgot which Mexican player almost got on the end of it and he missed and it landed to Pizarro's feet. But for the most part, Honduras did a very miserable job of clearing that one out of their own end. And I thought that for the first half, Mexico were the dominant side. They could have gone ahead 2-3, 4-0. But Honduras stayed in it. And for the most part, I don't have much to say about Mexico here because I thought they were fairly impressive. I thought that the way that they made Honduras come to them, they kept possession of the ball and they made Honduras go after them to sort of disrupt Honduras's strategy, which seemed to be to win the ball back and get them on the break. But for the most part, I thought that Honduras just didn't know what they were doing. They looked... Most of the set pieces they were awarded, that they were taken very poorly, with the exception of that one corner kick that was very nicely curved in, and it was on target. It was going for goal. Whether he meant to do that intentionally or not, I'm not sure, but Jesus Corona had to get a hand to that because otherwise that was going into the back of the net. So That was a very gutsy corner kick that was taken. You don't see very many of those scored from the actual taker of the corner kick. They're usually handed off treated as a cross to either meet someone's head or to build up another line of attack. But for the most part, here, I just thought Honduras was just lacking that bite. And the one goal was decisive. And it kind of sucks as a neutral. It's unfortunate because, you want to see more goals. And I know what Honduras is capable of. I know what they're capable of. And they were capable of scoring goals in this tournament. They were capable of having a much better tournament. Mexico did just enough to get through. For the most part, I was impressed with, again, how they contained themselves and how they disrupted Honduras' rhythm. They forced them to come at them. And for the most part, whenever Mexico was on the attack, Honduras had to sit back. They had to absorb pressure. And their strategy became very predictable from that point onwards, which was to run down, take advantage of the left-hand flanks with Kyoto on the counter. And Mexico figured it out very quickly, and they neutralized them. So, for the most part, I know I keep saying that, but it's a disappointment. It's a disappointing tournament for Honduras. So, Mexico's are into the semifinals. They will play Jamaica. Again, I think Mexico and Jamaica are getting very familiar with each other in the last few years. They played each other in the Gold Cup final in 2015, played each other in the Copa America Centenario last year in 2016, and now they're going to play each other for the second time in this same tournament. Should be fascinating to watch. So, leave a comment below, like, subscribe. What were your thoughts? We now have our semifinals set. They begin on Saturday with Costa Rica against the U.S., the United States. Costa Rica and the United States, and then it's Mexico versus Jamaica on Sunday. So, tell me, give me some feedback below. What are your thoughts? And I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, have a good night. I'm getting really sleepy, really tired. Peace out. Much love.